Okay, there we go. All right, so welcome. And it is, oh, no, Anne-Marie is in April 11th, but we are on April 10th, April 11th here. April's just swinging right along. What is happening with spring? It's just, or fall, like, it's just like the momentum of these transitional seasons. They're just, it's like, do you guys feel like this in your life sometimes? There are times when I feel like I'm on the train of my life, and then there's times like I feel like I'm running along beside the train of my life. It's like, wait, can't you? And I feel like I'm in one of those phases where I'm beside the train of my life right now. Just watching the days go by. So today I wanted to talk about something in relation to Ahimsa April. Well, one of the most important things that I want to bring home through Ahimsa April, and really if this is all that you receive through Ahimsa April, is the teachings that our hearts are naturally open, tender, and responsive. And what do we mean by that is that when we say that they're open, it means that they're not limited by our conceptual beliefs about our lives. And tender means that they have the capacity to know in an intuitive way what needs to happen. And responsive means that they're able to bring that, the intuitive knowing, into the world without doubt or reservation. And so today I wanted to talk about some of the kind of conceptual ideas and beliefs that we have about our lives that keep us caught in suffering. So ahimsa means nonviolence. And I think this creates a lot of violence and suffering in our lives. And this is the belief that we have to do our life right, or that we have to be perfect and that we have to have it all figured out. And this is a form of violence that I see myself playing out in my own life often. And also that I see a lot of others playing out in their own lives as well. I think a lot of the way that our lives are structured these days, although, I think there were probably various versions of it in different points of history, but I think just the way that we have an online life now, that we can present ourselves in a certain way. And also it's very seductive in the online world to be able to edit the version of yourself that you show, that it's in real life, you can't do that as much. It's a little bit more messy, but we can kind of show a certain face to the world. This is the me that I want to show to the world. And online, so we can kind of present ourselves as having it all figured out, or being perfect, or even feeling that we need to do it right. And even if doing it right means showing that we're not perfect, so it's a kind of a violence that I think is a little bit more pervasive. Maybe previously it might have only been more around social gatherings or certain days of the week, on Sundays when you had to go to church or whatever. But I think it's a little bit more pervasive now. But I think really this isn't realistic. And also our meditation training teaches us that it's unnecessary, because our hearts are open and tender and responsive, and we can learn to rest into this and trust it. So it is a kind of violence that we inflict on ourselves, and it's a lack of trust in our ability to be open to life as it arises, to have the capacity to know what needs to happen, and to know that we'll be able to act without doubt or reservation, and really to be okay with messing up, that we are going to mess up, and that's okay too. So what happens, and you guys can all relate to this, actually I've just messed up a little bit, because I want us to find a moment in our own lives where we do this. So let's just take a moment right now to close our eyes and turn inwards and lengthen up through your spine. Let your ears come over your shoulders, lengthen up through the back of your neck. And just let yourself settle into your body. And give yourself a moment or two to just rest in your body, have the experience of being in your body. Feeling the support of the earth underneath you. And then let your attention rest gently on your breath. Just the light attention on your breath. And take a moment now to reflect on your own life. And just maybe even thinking back to today, or you probably don't have to go back very far. Just notice how often you're rehearsing your life, how often you're planning it out, playing it out, working it out, going through all the possible scenarios, planning and scheming the best possible one for you. And as you reflect on this and notice how this is alive for you in your life, just notice how it feels in your body. So how does your body respond to that kind of recalling, that kind of reflection of the rehearsing, the playing out, the planning? And I just ask that you keep that awareness of the way that you do that in your life just in the forefront as I go through the rest of this talk. You can stay connected to earth, stay connected to your body, stay connected to your experience, and you can open your eyes. You don't have to leave your eyes closed. So, life is going to unfold, just like I just did. I realized I was getting ahead of myself, and I wanted to make sure you had your own experience with you as we went through this talk. But, we can trust that it's okay. We can go back and correct ourselves. The sky didn't fall when that happened, because we do have the capacity to course correct and to meet experience as it arises. But what does tend to happen is that, and I think we can all relate to this, is the ways that we talk to ourselves nonstop. I mean, obviously some situations are kind of more charged for us, but we kind of talk to ourselves nonstop. We recall what happened. We plan what needs to be done. We evaluate the benefits of it or the drawbacks of it, and we prepare for how we're going to interact with others. And I was reading this book that I'm really enjoying right now on mindful leadership, and the author of this book, which I can I think his name is something Carroll. I'll get it for you if you guys are interested. But he talked about how this is like being caught in the waiting room of your life. And I just thought it was such a great analogy, because when we do this, we really are caught in this in-between place where we're not fully engaged in any experience. but we're sitting on these sidelines and we're kind of torturing ourselves, thinking about executing this perfect life rather than trusting ourselves to live it. And while we're sitting in our waiting room, planning, preparing, evaluating, and judging, our lives are unfolding in their own beautiful, delightful, and terrifying ways, in the ways that they're going to unfold. So really, we can spend our whole life in the waiting room trying to figure it out. But the truth is that we're never going to figure it all out. Our life is going to unfold with or without our participation. Do you guys ever have that experience where it's like, you know, something is unfolding and it's like this great catastrophe right in front of you, and you're kind of sitting back and watching it, and you're just kind of watching the whole scenario unfold? It's like your life unfolding in front of you. Yeah, I've had that experience too. And it's almost like that witness, being in that place of witness in your own life. You know, you're like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. This is happening right now. Yeah. So that way, you know, you can, sometimes there's this kind of chaos unfolding in front of you, and you're like, how is this happening? But it's happening, you know, so your life is going to unfold whether, you know, whether you're engaging in the drama or not sometimes, right? Whether you're scheming or not, whether you're in the waiting room or not, sometimes you can be in the, in the light. But I think that your life is going to unfold with or without your full participation. But at some point, I think we do have to trust our own openness, our own tenderness, and our own responsiveness. And we do have to trust that our heart is not limited by the need to get it right or to have it all figured out. And we can trust that our heart will know how to respond, and that we will have the capacity to act without doubt or reservation. And at some point, we have to have the courage to leave the waiting room. We cannot author our experience. It's going to unfold from moment to moment in all its power, in all its messiness, in all its grandeur, and in all its boredom. You know, we talked a lot about boredom actually this morning. It was quite interesting. And reality doesn't stop because we're sitting in the waiting room rehearsing our lives. And when we are experiencing the unfolding of our lives from moment to moment, it can be messy, can be uncertain. But when we leave this kind of cozy rehearsal space, and I say cozy, it can be cozy because you're kind of figuring it all out, but it's also quite torturous, right? Trying to figure out every single kind of possible scenario. We're entering into the real deal. And we're entering into what in this lineage we call the groundless ground. It's the unknown. You know, we don't know how it's going to turn out. And rather than this false sense of having it all figured out, each moment is going to arise, vivid and fluid and constantly changing. So what we think is solid and predictable in the waiting room, it's actually in our real life, it's constantly changing and nothing is guaranteed. So we try to protect ourselves from life's instability by staying in the safety of the rehearsal room, in the waiting room. But really, we can trust the tenderness, the openness, and the responsiveness of our heart. And the purpose of my talk tonight is just to dare all of us to be courageous enough to let go of the limiting belief that we have to do it right, or that we have to have it all together, and that we can leap into the unknown, as, you know, terrifying as it is, as uncertain as it is, as groundless as it is. Because when we do, our heart will meet us there, and we will be guided with complete certainty. You know, it might not be as familiar as all the planning and the scheming, but, you know, it's a practice like anything else. And it's certainly a lot less violent and torturous than the waiting room. So that is my little talk for tonight. And I open it up to you to have a chance to respond if you feel so called, and to introduce yourself, where you're connecting from, and what you want to receive from your practice tonight.
go, Melissa. I'm Lisa. I'm in Calgary in Canada, and I think I've missed maybe a couple classes in a row here, so it's good to be back. I like the live interaction, so, but it's interesting, I did the last week's class, I did the recording through the week, and it's funny because when I was doing it and I was thinking about the weeks before, and so I've been trying to understand this, letting your awareness go into the earth. And I'm having a hard time to understand that. I can't seem to separate my awareness from my body. I feel like my body's going into the earth. So when I was watching last week's class, I was kind of laughing because I was thinking, I suck at this. I suck at meditation. Like, I'm the worst meditator ever. And then last week was on ahimsa and on just being kind, and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should listen to the lesson. So I guess my goal for today is to try and still work on separating my physical being from my awareness, and then if it doesn't happen, just doesn't matter. Not worry about it.
You know, one of the best pieces of advice that I heard from Reggie Ray, who's my teacher's teacher, was that, and I count him among my teachers too, but was when he said, you know, the best thing you can do is to be the worst meditator ever. You know, like the worst thing you can do is try to be the best meditator ever. And so I think I probably repeated those words that he said before, because, you know, and it goes back to this talk, right, about trying to do it right.
Yeah.
You know, and then we get caught up in becoming the perfect meditator. It becomes no different than trying to be the perfect person in our lives, and it becomes part of the prison that we're creating for ourselves in our life, you know. Yeah. It's just becomes another prison that or part of the prison that we're creating, you know. Right. So I would just say, yeah, don't even worry about it. Just let yourself be a lousy meditator.
Exactly.
And especially with the earth descent, I think the more you try, the worse it goes.
Right. Yeah.
It's so true. If you just relax, you drop. If you concentrate on it, you just, you're there. You're in your head instead of like letting it go.
Yeah.
I found it. I just lie there and let's see what happens. I think Michelle is perfect at that. It's just like, I'm going to lie down and see what happens. And I do that every single time. Sometimes things come up and sometimes they don't. And sometimes it's nice. And sometimes I nap. And sometimes
that's awesome.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm in my, you know, I'm in my head or my chest or whatever, but every time it's different. And I don't make expectations when I come down to my mat anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your talk today is really relevant. I mean, we all strive so much for perfection in whatever we do, if it's meditation, if it's our lives. I think I get stuck very much planning everything out instead of living my life. And we are stuck in that waiting room all the time. And it's a great talk. It makes me really think about my life and, you know, and not doing that. I try, but it's not, you know, sometimes you're just stuck in that little, what is it? It's like that pattern, right? Of planning your life all the time, planning what's gonna happen, or what you have planned out for your day, and when things don't go the way you want, it just, that's where the anxiety, I think, builds up in my body, and that's where the stress builds up in my body, and that translates into the pain into my back, which I've also noticed since I've been doing the meditation. All this is all related, and one to the other. So the less I strive, the better off it's going to be.
And I think what you said is that the way that they all relate, they do, and then the practice opens you to the possibility that you can trust yourself.
Yeah.
that you can trust yourself to arrive in a situation and not have to have it planned out. Right? That you are capable.
And you are. I mean, you're presented with life every day.
Right? You've gotten this far.
Yeah, exactly. And nothing, the world has not fallen apart. You're still here, you're still present, and you're still going through your day. But we're stuck in those old patterns. We're stuck in those old patterns.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm Maria from New Jersey. I plan to lay down and see what happens.
And I think, what you said too, I think a lot about why when I come to a meditation practice, like this morning I did a meditation practice, and in the course I'm in, we rolled over into a new unit, and so it was a new meditation practice. And so there were new instructions to follow. Why, when I come to meditation practice and the instructions are brand new, do I have the most present, the most open, the most fulfilling practice? And I think it's because I have no expectation about how it's going to go. I have no idea what's coming. I have no expectation of how it's going to go. And so there's this kind of openness, like there's this kind of openness and uncertainty and ambiguity, like that we're talking about here, right? I'm arriving with, okay, here we go. I don't know. But when the practice is repetitive, we arrive with some kind of expectation about what should happen, right? And that's what happens in life too. And then it doesn't happen. And then there's the suffering, right?
And then we're thrown for a loop because it didn't happen the way we wanted it to happen.
Or it didn't happen. Well, it didn't happen one of the 100 ways that I played it out in my mind. I played out all these scenarios.
Right.
And shit, it still didn't go that way. And oh my God, I still didn't rehearse that one.
Right. But that's life. It's messy, right?
Yeah, but wow, what if we could show up just like for the meditation? I don't know what's going to happen, but I could go into it just the same way as the meditation. Open.
It's going to take a lot of practice to do that, I think. I show up to my life. Usually I have a plan. So that's going to take a lot of practice, not to strive for that plan and just to, all right, let's see what happens.
Do you think, Melissa, too, that it's a bit genetic in terms of, I think I read this book recently. It was she's the COO of Facebook, and the book was called Lean In. And not to make a big long story, but she was saying that women, for example, one study that she referenced that I thought was really interesting is that women won't apply for positions until they feel that they're 100% qualified for that position, whereas men will apply for positions when they're, 40%, capable of that position. And that really was interesting to me, because I know I've been like that, where I don't apply for things until I feel, till I know I'm going to do it. Wow. And so anyway, after I read that book, I ended up applying for a couple of positions at work that I'm not 100% qualified for, but I got one.
That's awesome.
Great. That's awesome.
Anyway, but so I think I don't know. I wonder if some of what we experience is because we're women. I mean, I'm not sure. There's probably some men who watch this too, but I think it's interesting, in terms of, I think for me anyway, I tend to really plan things and go over scenarios, like you say, which I think there are some circumstances that there's validity to that. But maybe in terms of engine failures and stuff, but not in,
Yeah, I was thinking about you when I was going through that too. But I think that like what you're saying is valid, but it's still a conditioned respond. Like it's still a conditioned belief, right? Yeah. So it goes back to the beginning of the talk, which is that our heart, if we're living from our heart in an open way, we wouldn't have that conditioned belief, right? Yeah. Like our heart knows that, hey, you know, you can do this. You got this.
Hi, I'm Marie from Australia. I think what I found as part of this journey is cultural conditioning, like what we're exposed to and the information that we're exposed to. Like, for instance, if you hadn't have read that book and read that sentence, you wouldn't have been open to that belief or that possibility. So for me, part of trying to open my heart and be open is also having an open mind, to allow new ideas and concepts to come in. And the more I read lots of things and read a lot about women, I think we have centuries of language and cultural conditioning that have been passed on genetically. And I think the world and the energies are starting to change a little now that we're having access to this new information that we can take on board. And I think we underestimate like those patterns of cultural conditioning. They're not just our lifetime, you know, we're starting now to change things, but it's like generations and generations and generations. And a lot of the time when I beat myself up now about, am I meditating, am I doing this? Then I'll sort of pause and I'll say, is this really true? Like yesterday I had a lazy day at home, you know, I wore my jammies all day, I watched telly. And then at the end of the day, the little voice said to me, you know, like, oh, you don't achieve anything, you just sit around all day. And then I was like, no, is this true? And I said, no, it's not true. But often when I'm in the midst of things, the actual voice at the moment who's saying whether, you know, you're not doing this right or you're not doing that. And for me, I found this asking if this is true. And I've got this little gear stick, you know, like when you're driving the car, and I'll bring the image of the gear stick to me and try and help me to use that to change gears, to even just change perception just for a little minute to think about something else. And even with the somatic meditation, you know, a lot of the time I lie down and I think, am I doing this right? And I don't feel I'm achieving anything when I'm on the floor. But then when we come together as a group and we talk about things, it's like it seems to do its own thing without you even knowing what it's doing, which is really paradoxical. Yeah. But yet there's still that voice in my head that says to me, you can't do somatic meditations. You're not ending. Your awareness isn't going where it should go. And it's really hard trying to detach from that commentary. Yeah.
Because it's really beyond that kind of, that would be the left brain kind of,
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Kind of linear thinking, you know, going this, controlling the experience, right?
Yeah.
It's a very felt, embodied, non-linear, non-languaging experience even, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So in that way you can come out of it and not have words to express it or...
Yeah.
But a lot has happened.
Yeah. Like I see it, and I even like not only just with myself, but the way I react to different situations now. You know, the emotional charges, you know, things arising in daily life. You know, just little things like yesterday, the cat was rubbing against my leg and annoying me, and for some reason I was annoyed that day. And in the past I would just have let her annoy me, and then I'd probably have been annoyed at my husband about something. Right? And I just said to him, you know, oh, the cat's really rubbing my leg today and it's irritating me. Can you take her and deal with it? And he did. And then it wasn't a drama. Whereas before I would have just let her rub my leg because she's a cat and that's what cats do. But I didn't want her to do it at that point in time yesterday. So it's just that, yeah, that I suppose I'm more aware of how my body's feeling now than I was before.
I think this is a really, actually, you know, somewhat mundane and actually perfect example of what we were talking about today. You know, it doesn't always have to be a big thing, right? So the cat's rubbing Anne-Marie's leg and she has this intuitive response that this is actually really irritating me right now. And okay, so what she needs to have happen is for the cat to stop rubbing her leg. And she asks for that to happen, and it happens. I mean, it can be that simple. Mm-hmm. Right? And like Anne-Marie said, then it wasn't this whole emotional drama that got played out in her life. It was just like, that was the awareness in her body. That was what arose. And then that was the action. It can be that simple. I think that's a really good example of where it doesn't go into the whole huge emotional drama. Right? And then Anne-Marie doesn't become wrong for not being loving to her cat and blah, 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 right?
And I didn't put up with the cat rubbing my legs. So because I was irritated, then I didn't nap at my husband for chopping the carrot the wrong way or something.
Right. It was just
turn into what it often turns into if I'm like, oh, that's just what cats do. Yeah, it was just, yeah. And yeah, when she went, it was good. And then just went on to the thing. Yeah, I suppose the practice is helping me practice self-love. Like before the somatic meditation, intellectually, I wanted to practice self-love, but I found that politeness, cultural conditioning, lots of other things, I would put other people before myself or put the needs of others. Whereas now it's like the things that arise from within in my body, and it's like the body doesn't want to do certain things, but it feels from a loving place. Yeah, so yeah, which is nice. Mm-hmm.
Anything else before we go into meditation? Okay, I'll let you guys lie down and get settled. I'm just going to get my glass of water while you do. Okay, so you're lying on your backs with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. And you want to be as comfortable as possible. Adjusting the position of your feet so that your low back is relaxed, your neck is relaxed. You may even want to put something underneath your head if that allows your neck to relax more. Place your hands on your low belly. Let your elbows be heavy on the ground. You're going to feel your 2 feet, the 2 sides of your buttocks, your mid-back, your shoulder blades, your 2 elbows, and the back of your head on the ground. And just take a moment to feel the earth underneath you. Feeling the solidity and the support of the earth underneath you. And let your body settle into that. Allow yourself to relax into the earth. And this is part of letting go of all of the conceptual ideas that we have about our lives, all of the ways that we feel like we have to do it right, all the times we feel like we have to be perfect and have it all figured out. Just being here at the beginning of our meditation, letting go of the playing out, the planning, the rehearsing, just letting all of that go into the earth here. As we connect to the support of the earth underneath us, that can be really, really powerful. And then you begin by breathing into your big toes. And you're feeling any kind of tension or tightness, holding on, any gripping in your big toes. So that tension, that tightness, that gripping that we start to uncover in our bodies as we do this somatic meditation is the kind of controlling, the kind of resisting against life that we experience. And when we come here to the meditation, we start to uncover it in our bodies. And then we just relax and we release and we let it go into the earth underneath us. So letting go of that tension from the big toe down into the earth. And as you do this, you might feel your breath begin to slow down, feeling the pull of gravity. And then coming to your second toe, feeling the tension in your second toe. You may feel a little, you may feel a lot. You probably feel something in there along the spectrum. It'll be different each time you come here. You're just allowing your awareness to uncover the tension that's there. Notice that when you become aware of the tension, it starts to shift and change. And then it begins to release and let go. And then coming to your middle toe. Feeling the tension in your middle toe. You may already begin to start to let go. Your body wants to release. The beginning of inviting that tension to release. You may notice that relaxation starts to happen throughout your whole body as you release tension in your feet. Tension will start to relax through your whole body because the meridians that exist in your feet run throughout your whole body. When you release tension in your feet, you're relaxing your entire body. And then you're coming into your fourth toe. Feeling into the length of the toe, the ball of the toe, the top of the toe. Feeling yourself develop a full sense of the sensation in each toe. And don't worry if it's taking time to sense into it. Each time you come to this meditation, your awareness will open a little bit more. You'll be able to feel a little bit more. And sometimes the release will feel like a lot. It might just feel like a little bit of release. It might feel gradual. Sometimes it might not feel like it's letting go at all. Sometimes you might feel a lot of tension and then later in your meditation it might let go spontaneously. Just trust the wisdom of your body and stay present. Everything is unfolding in the way that it should. And you're just really bringing awareness to your body as we're moving through it. Coming to your baby toe. Feeling the way your baby toe feels maybe a little retracted, pulled back. And allowing the tension there to release and let go. So now all 5 toes are a little bit longer, a little bit more lengthened, a little bit more relaxed. Maybe you feel some corresponding release of tension through your jaw, your forehead, your temples, your upper back. And then coming into the ball of your foot, feeling the tension, feeling the tightness and letting it release. And then coming into the arch of your foot, feeling the tension in the arch of your foot. Maybe it feels like sand moving through an hourglass as the tension goes down, or rain falling from a cloud. And then feeling the band of tension all the way through the sole of your foot, the whole underside of your foot. And feeling that tension release down into the earth. Coming along the outside edge of your foot, the band of tension from the baby toe all the way to your heel. And then coming to the heel itself. So feeling the density of your heel. So just notice too how the different parts of your foot have different qualities, and the tension is different in each part of your foot. So maybe if it may not feel like something is happening, you can notice how there's a different quality of sensation in different parts of your feet. And then coming to your foot as a whole, feeling any remaining tension, feeling the draining of tension down through your foot as a whole. All the bones and tendons and fascia, releasing, dissolving, and letting go. And then coming up into your lower legs, your ankle bones on the inside, your ankle bones on the outside, the Achilles at the back, feeling the tightness and the holding on there. And allowing that tension to dissolve down through your heel and into the earth. And then coming to your shin bone. Feeling the tension on the shin bone, the front of the shin bone, the inside of the shin bone, the sides, and feeling the entire length of the shin bone, letting that tension dissolve. Coming to the whole lower leg. So I like to travel from the shin bones through the lower leg, back through the calf muscle. And again, you can kind of sense into the different quality of sensations, the difference between the way the shin bone feels, your experience of the space between the shin bone and the calf muscle, and then this difference in the sensation right into the calf muscle itself. It feels more dense, maybe a little more difficult to tune into the sensation in the calf muscle. But let your awareness roam up and down the length of the entire calf muscle, from the backs of the knees all the way down to the Achilles, and you'll sense that there's different areas of awakeness through your calf muscle. Some parts will feel more alive. There'll be more sensation, more tension. And you can feel into that as a way of awakening, waking it up. And follow that sensation down through the length of the calf, through the areas that maybe feel a little more asleep, a little more numb. Allow that tension to dissolve down all the way through the length of your lower leg. And then feeling your connection between your buttocks and the ground. And just notice how there's gripping and holding on. And allow this to soften. Let your connection between yourself and your buttocks be, between your buttocks and the ground, be more complete. So you can relax and let your buttocks rest into the ground, knowing that you don't need to hold on here. And coming from this space of allowing your buttocks to rest into the ground more, and then coming into your pelvic floor. Feeling the tension through that figure 8 of muscles along the pelvic floor, through your anus, your perineum, your genitals. And just give yourself some time to sense into the layers of tension there. And then allow it to soften the space between your pubic bone and your tailbone. Just let this soften. And then the pubic bone and tailbone themselves. Feel the tightness, feel the holding on there. And feel how, as they soften too, the pelvic floor softens a little bit more. And then a new awareness of the pelvis, the pelvic bones, the pelvic bowl comes forward, feeling the tension in the pelvic bones, the pelvic bowl. And so as we bring our awareness to our body, new layers of tension reveal themselves. And this is just like our lives. You know, this is the chaos, the uncertainty, the groundless ground of our lives. And just as you are coming into your bodies and bringing awareness to the layers of tension as they reveal themselves, and as you're releasing that tension into the earth, just in the same way that you're capable of doing that, you're capable of meeting the uncertainty of your life, of meeting the groundless ground of your life. Same thing. So you feel the tension in the pelvis, you meet the tension in your pelvis. You feel this uncertainty in your life, you meet the uncertainty in your life. You do it in your body. This is your personal body. You can do it in your interpersonal bodies too, you know, when you in the way you relate with each other. So now our whole lower body is relaxing. You can feel that softening through your whole lower body. We could go back and do our upper legs a little bit. I just get a sense of the whole lower body softening, relaxing, maybe a little bit more through your lower belly, feeling maybe the tautness of the lower belly. The reproductive organs, or space where reproductive organs once resided, whether they're there or we're energetically there, you tend to that space, feel the tension. The large intestines, just allowing our tender attention, you know, like Anne-Marie was speaking about, that it's that loving kindness. Allow that tenderness touch of awareness to soften and release. And as the whole area of your pelvis and pelvic bowl softens, notice how there's a little bit of spaciousness right in the hips themselves. So the hip bones can kind of soften and relax into the sockets. The upper legs can soften, the thigh bones, the the hamstrings, the whole upper leg can relax and soften as well. So coming to your mid-back now at the base of your ribs, below your bottom of your sternum, the base of your lungs, feeling that connection to the earth there, noticing if this part of your body is kind of bracing against the ground, and as you breathe out, allow it to settle and relax even more deeply into the ground. Feel that connection increase just in the same way that you did with your buttocks. And then feeling into that space of the lower ribs where the lower part of your lungs are residing, and then below your lungs, the rest of the abdominal organs, your liver, your kidneys around the back. Just feeling into the tension of the organs in your mid-body there, your stomach, your small intestines. And let the tenderness of your attention allow these organs to soften, relax, let go. And then coming to your shoulder blades, feeling where your shoulder blades are touching the earth, allowing them to rest fully on the earth. Noticing if there's any tension in the shoulder blades themselves. And then relaxing the tension in the shoulder blades and letting your awareness come to the insides of the shoulder blades, feeling the tension all along the upper back, through the back of the upper neck. And then relaxing completely. And then let your awareness come up through your upper body, up through the upper chest, through your collarbones, the upper layers of the lungs, the tension all around the upper parts of the rib cage. Feel into the layers of tension there. And then feel the tension dissolving and melting down into the earth through the shoulder blades. Feel the heaviness of your elbows on the earth. Coming into the shoulders, feeling the tension in the shoulders, letting the tension drain down through your shoulders, through your elbows and into the earth. And then letting the tension come down through the forearms, from your hands, your wrists, your thumbs, through your forearms, into your elbows, into the earth. And then finally your head. Bring your awareness to your eyes, your eyebrows, feeling the tension in your eyes and your eyebrows, your cheekbones, your temples. Feeling that tension come forward and then letting it dissolve down through the back of your head and into the earth. Feeling the tension in your brain. Letting the tension in your brain slide down through the back of your head and into the earth. And then feeling the tension along your scalp and in the skin. And just letting your whole face, the whole structure of your face just melt, dissolve, release, let go. So now your whole body is relaxing. Melting, dissolving, letting go into the earth. You're going to breathe into your body. Feeling any remaining tension in your body, allowing any remaining tension to come forward. And then as you breathe out, just let it release down into the earth. And then just spend the next few moments allowing yourself to relax in your body, to relax in the state of somatic relaxation, to be in this state of complete embodied awareness without needing to do anything, without needing to strive for anything, without needing to do any project with your body, just being in your body, resting in your body, allowing your awareness to be in the state of somatic relaxation. And then you're going to allow yourself to stay with this experience of being in your body, of being aware and connected with your embodied experience. And slowly, you can start to transition to maybe gently stretching out and then rolling to your side, pausing for a moment on your side, and then making your way up to seated. Okay, so this time for you now is open for you to be able to reflect on your experience either now or to be able to ask questions about it, the one you just had, or if you have questions or you want to speak about any experience that you've had with your meditation over the last week or since the last time you've been here. This is a good space for you to be able to do that.
First, I found today my body felt very fidgety on the ground. I don't know if it's just tension or what it was, but I had a hard time releasing my feet and going all the way up my body. I mean, it's happened before, but today I noticed it a lot. I mean, I try not to focus on it and just breathing and letting it go. But I still feel it, like in my legs and stuff. Could be just the tension from today, or
it's a really hard experience to be with, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's hard to release. I mean, it's hard releasing that fidgetiness. I mean, I don't think I'm stressed or anything. It's just, I guess it's just the energy.
Yeah, that's what's there.
Okay.
Yeah, this experience for me, I felt really fidgety too.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't relax. I couldn't let go. Mm-hmm. And then when I did, I thought I'd fallen asleep, and I thought, oh, I've disconnected. I thought you were all gone. But it was, but what I did want to share too was, I think the last time I was with the group, it was a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about chaos, and you had suggested that I go back and look at do some of the meditations that had been recorded, and I did that, and that was really helpful for me, especially the chaos, because I think I had missed that, and you had said that you did some real gut-wrenching stuff, and I was at that gut-wrenching stage, and it was perfect. It really helped me, and I wanted to share that. So, and I've gone back a couple of different times when I'm feeling that way, and it's been a real help. So I appreciate that.
Good. I'm glad you went. I'm glad you went back, and it's good to have that there, because there are times when in our lives where it does feel chaotic, and I feel like when those times come up, the tendency is to feel completely isolated, like we're the only ones going through it,
Yep.
right? But that's never really the case. So it's good that those recordings are there. I do want to go back to the fidgeting thing, though, because when these things come up in our body, it's something that our body wants to have come up and be have you meet, right? It's and I know that in my experience that I've had that experience of having that fidgetiness, and it feels really awful. And you want, and in my experience, the desire is to be past the fidgetiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of wanting to, and it actually goes with this talk really well, right? Because if I do this meditation right and apply this technique right, then I will be able to release the fidgetiness into the ground, right, and get past it, right? I will be able to control it, and it will be done. And then I'll be able to feel the relaxation of the earth. That has been my experience of it when it comes up. And then my experience of that has been that it doesn't work. Actually, the fidgetiness kind of amplifies itself, right? And presents itself more like a toddler that's like, I'm going to have a bigger temper tantrum now, right? Like, that's been my experience of it too. Yeah. So I can recall this week not too long ago, actually, where I had been having insomnia all through the week, and I went to meditation class, and it was like, okay, Neil, take me there, right? Like, here we go, right? Only I lay down, and we did lying down, and then we did sitting up. So like, it was like, we probably lay down for 20 minutes, and then we were sitting up and laying down, 20 minutes of fidgeting, sitting up, and then the fidgeting was still there, right? I was fit to be tied. And then I realized, this fidgeting is here. Here it is. So I decided to just fidgeting, or it felt really like restlessness, like her, that kind of feels, sometimes they feel kind of the same. So I just decided to just be with the restlessness, like that was what was there. So forget about letting it go, just be with it. And I just was just with it. I'm not going to let it go. I'm just going to just be completely with the fidgeting. That's what is presenting itself. And I was for a long time. It's like, I think I've talked about this before, like, having the experience of the heart, right? The pain in the heart, the pain in the heart, the pain in the heart, being with the pain in the heart, being with the pain in the heart, and then that lasting for a long, long time. It was like that. It was not dissimilar to the fidgeting, right? The really uncomfortable sensation. And eventually it opened up, and there was some spaciousness around it, but not until I fully attended to it without any agenda of needing it to go anywhere. And then, I feel like I've told this story before, because it would be nice if the story had a happy ending and I went on with my day, and then it all, life was good then. But no, I kind of got up from my cushion, and I was still exhausted because, I'd had insomnia, and it kind of blundered through the rest of my day. But there was this sense of spaciousness for a little bit when I had, held that restlessness in my hands for a while, when I had just stopped and attended to it. There was just this kind of moment where whoosh, it opened up, and so that's a tough one.
It's tough. And it couldn't, for me, like I tried moving my feet, or tried moving my legs a little bit, or I had Yeah, I tried moving a little bit to maybe get more comfortable, and maybe that would help. But the whole class, I was just thinking to myself, well, I was supposed to be
I'm supposed to be
relaxing.
here. Yeah, I'm supposed to be relaxing.
Right.
This isn't supposed to be happening, but this
Right.
is what's happening.
Yeah, and then even if I was trying to breathe into that restlessness, all I felt was the restlessness, and I couldn't breathe into
So feel the restlessness.
Yeah.
So really just be with the restlessness. So it's like, you're just going to take that restlessness and you're just going to bring it right in.
But is it okay, like, to move around a little bit and try to find a better position, or should I just?
I think it's not. I think it's, unless you're in pain, no.
No, I wasn't. It's just that weird sensation.
I know it's part of it. So it's like, this is the practice, right? Because it's like, oh, this is so uncomfortable, I'm going to move, right? But you move and it doesn't help.
No, I didn't help at all.
So I think you sit and you're still, because, okay, off the cushion, what does it translate to? You're able to kind of self-soothe this breathlessness with whatever techniques it is, right? I'm going to eat, I'm going to have a glass of wine, I'm going to smoke some weed, I'm going to watch some TV, I'm going to have some ice cream, whatever it is, we're going to do to take the edge off.
Right.
Yeah. And in each one of those cases, you're resisting. You're not
meeting it.
Right.
No.
Right. Because restlessness comes up. It comes up. Discomfort comes up in our day-to-day lives, but in our day-to-day lives, we we distract ourselves, right? We don't meet the discomfort.
No.
So actually, when this comes up in your practice, whoo, good news. Fabulous. This is really good news, because
you keep on telling me this, but yet
it
raw.
feels terrible. It feels terrible.
Raw.
It feels really raw, for sure.
Yeah. It keeps on feeling very raw, but I guess I understand that it's a good thing, because
it's advanced practice. Gold stars, A++. Yay, Maria.
Doesn't feel like that though.
It's really good.
I'm glad it's working then.
It is working, because you're like, this is like a huge amount of trust that your body's bringing this forward to say, hey, this is, I trust that you're capable to deal with this.
It's just difficult to be in that moment, I guess. That's what it is. Being there in the restlessness, or when when I'm feeling the anxiety in my chest, or whatever's coming up for me, it's hard to deal with that moment. I think it is. That's what it is.
And when you do, guess what? Then it's like, then you are having the experience of knowing that you can. And then when it's off the mat, you have that trust in yourself, because you can, like, you're building. It's like my teacher always talks about, building the muscle, right? It's happened on the cushion. I met it on the cushion. Okay, here I am in the life. Oh, there's that anxiety. Well, I know that. I've sat with it so many times. It's really okay.
Yeah.
I totally get that it's not easy, though. I totally get that it's not easy.
I guess we're so numb to sensations of walking around and not feeling things, and
we're used to numbing.
And I know that's how I got through a lot of my childhood, and not facing things and putting things on the back burner all the time, and a lot of life, you just keep on. And since we've been doing the meditations, it's like everything is just bubbling to the surface every single time. Bubbling to the surface. And it's not that I'm thinking about, the past, but it's just present. So it's still there.
And that's what will happen, right? Because that's par for the course. That is what happens. So you're doing the meditation, you're clearing the path, everything that happened. So you've just described the path very well, actually, Maria. Everything that has happened in your body has landed in your body. It's there. And you've explained that the things that happened were too much for you at a certain point in your life, right? And so it's still in your body because you haven't processed it. Now what we're doing is we're removing all these layers of tension, right? They're all going. And now your body's saying, okay, these layers are gone. So how about this stuff here that you haven't dealt with? Now it feels safe for these to come forward. And they're coming forward because your body's ready to unburden you. And it is uncomfortable still. But it's, you know, it's the ripening of karma, and it is actually very good news. It means that you're, and you say good like I say good when I hear this stuff, because it feels very uncomfortable.
It does feel very uncomfortable.
But
I'm aware. It's a process, right? That we're doing here on our mat, on our cushions, or even in our yoga practice. It's a process that we're doing here. I'm glad I'm ready for it. I mean,
like
I wanted to do yoga and meditation for years, and I never got that chance. And all of a sudden, I'm doing everything, and I guess now my body is ready for all the coming up.
Like my teacher always says, and I think it's so cute. You've got a lifetime's work, all holidays and hobbies, all locked up for you there.
Wow.
Plus, I think after having this experience and of being so fidgety or uncomfortable, I think the next time it happens, I'll be better prepared to accept it. Not that I'm looking forward to that, but that I now have this tool that I could use. Yeah,
you have but you have the confidence to meet it right now.
Right.
And I think that's what I was talking about, right? You have the confidence to meet it when it arises next time. And this is what's happening, is that we're building our confidence. Really.
Yeah.
We're building our confidence to meet whatever arises.
And that it's not wrong, and that we're not perfect, that it's just part of who we are,
right,
and what we're dealing with.
Yeah, nothing's wrong. Life's going to unfold as it unfolds, right? And all its messiness and all its uncertainty and all its imperfection. We can't control it. We're not going to make it perfect.
As much as we try.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to unfold the way it's going to unfold. And when we sit on the cushion and we meet everything that arises, we realize we can go out into the world with confidence that we can meet what's arising in our lives too.
I really felt that too today, like a little bit like Maria was saying, maybe not fidgety, but I felt I was able to release tension all the way up my body until I get to up here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always where it stops for me. That's where I carry, it's where I've always carried all my tension. And when I was feeling it, I'm like, trying to like do something to get it out of me, and it just won't go. And I'm thinking, why can't I get it out of this part? It's like, well, I kind of don't want to let go of all these stories because I need them to, get myself through my life. Like I don't want to not have these little rehearsals that go on. I've just been doing it for the last 10 minutes while we're all talking. I'm thinking, what am I going to say? It's crazy. You do it all day long.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. I totally get it.
But this is where it stops for me, is up here, and it's there, but I feel that resistance. I'm like, I don't really want to let go of that, because how do I decide what I'm going to say in 3 minutes from now?
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah. And I get it, but I do it.
Yeah. I know, because it's terrifying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and with this, like it's totally okay to be with not with the, I'm not quite saying it how you said it, with this is where it feels really almost unsafe to let go,
Yeah. Yeah.
So be with that kind of real vulnerability, that real tenderness, and don't have an agenda for that part. Just be with how that is right now.
Right.
I just kind of sensed a little softening for you there when you gave yourself permission to let it be the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like when we go in with those kind of agendas, right? Instead of just meeting what's there. So meeting the part that doesn't want to let go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With tenderness.
Yeah. I could definitely feel that today. Like that, oh, I see that this is where it's stopping.
Yeah.
And there's a real, like, I don't really want to not do that.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So meet that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all okay.
Mm-hmm.
Meet the part that doesn't want to let go. Because that's the part that's holding on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also, I think then notice, like, I think we kind of also like to pigeonhole ourselves as doing it. It's like an all or nothing thing, but I'm also willing to bet that there are some situations that you're willing to let go of the rehearsing, and some where you're holding on a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just noticing the places where there is the openness and where there is the confidence to go forward without the rehearsing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there are places, like I'll notice that, God, it's just like nonstop rehearsing and nonstop like discursiveness in my mind. And then I'll just find this gap and I'll be like, wow, that was gap. that was like an honest moment of pure experience, not planned, totally in the moment there. Yeah. And
for sure. Yeah.
right. And then you're aware of that. Give yourself credit for that too. Like that's the tenderness, that's the loving kindness that Anne-Marie is talking about as well. Because then this can become the project, right? Oh, well, you're just in the waiting room of your life, you stupid person, and then this becomes a whole new way to beat up on yourself.
That's why we should all practice the inner critic series as a community, just to figure it out.
I find that I know I put that series together, but I find it horrifying.
I like to go back to it.
I know. I don't know how you guys do it.
I really like it. I think it's so good. It just reminds me so much about all those voices and characters in my head that are doing their own little drama that has nothing whatsoever to do with reality.
Exactly. That's exactly right. It just reminds you that, those voices in your head, it's like turning down that radio crazy, right, that you say about it. Like when I'm stuck in that pattern of continuously like judging myself, or those voices telling you you're not good enough, you're not, you can't do this, you're, whatever. And I go back to that series and I listen to you and I listen to the teachings in each class. It reminds me to, all right, you have to shut that off, and you have to be, show yourself more loving kindness and more, and not listen to those voices anymore, because, they're not right. It's not true. Because you ask that question a lot. Is it true? And it's,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've got the weird lighting going on. Trini, can you turn the blind for me? Yeah, you guys are right.
And I think that's, for me, that's such a powerful question in my life. Is it true? in so many situations. Even if the story sort of starts up again, it's like it draws a curtain for a little bit, or it maybe changes the scene a little, but that is it true, I think, so powerful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely, to pull it back to the talk, would draw attention to when you're in the rehearsing and the planning versus the lived experience, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you all for being here today, for your practice and for your contribution. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It was nice to be back and see everyone again.
Yeah, it's good to have you all here. So I'll see you on the forum, and I will see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye.
Bye.